I'm Dr. Linda Gromko, and this is Transgender Medicine Made Simple. Today's topic is 6 measures that can help reduce gender dysphoria. In our last video, I discussed some of the symptoms that people can experience with gender dysphoria, and you may remember that I defined gender dysphoria as a type of physical and or emotional pain that occurs when a person's identified gender doesn't match the gender they were assigned at birth. But here are 6 ways that my patients have found to reduce their gender dysphoria and make their lives more manageable. First, find a therapist or a counselor. A good therapist is probably an important thing to find at any stage of life or at any age. A psychiatrist friend of mine used to say, it's the healthy people who go to therapy, and I think he was right. Even if you go to check in every month or 2 months, it gives you kind of a touchstone, a way to manage your life difficulties on an ongoing basis. If you can, find a good therapist with an understanding of gender dysphoria, who can help you figure out your gender goals, that is, what you want to see happen with respect to gender, if you haven't figured that out already. If you are hoping to have gender-affirming surgery down the road, you will need a supportive letter from your therapist, and from others as well. Then, if you do not have a therapist, think about finding a support group you can join. In Seattle, we have Ingersoll Gender Center, and they have weekly support groups via Zoom. Search transgender support groups in your area. There are online support groups all over the world, and I hear about trans people who are participating in groups in Canada and in Australia, for example. Next item is to find a compassionate friend who is going through a similar situation and make it a point to meet with them for lunch or for dinner, or if you're in Seattle, a walk around Green Lake, whatever you need to have regular focused contact that will give you good ideas and help you feel less alone. You know, I did this with a friend of mine from medical school. She and I have had lunch or dinner or something like that every month for about 40 years now, and I can't tell you the type of support that gives a person. They know your past, they know what you're going through, and it's just an ongoing support of help for both of us. I think it's important also to be aware of emergency help if things really get difficult. And the quickest resource is the 988 mental health emergency line, so that you can reach out to another human in case you are having dark thoughts of suicide. Next item, number 2, and this is a big one. Consider taking gender-affirming hormones. Now, for this, you'll need a medical prescriber. Gender-affirming hormones can truly change the look and feel of your body, and I believe they can change your mental outlook as well. As you learn about hormones, find out which effects are permanent and which cannot be reversed once they are started. Nobody needs surprises. I've also found that gender-affirming hormones can be extremely helpful for people who cannot transition for reasons of work or family or medical conditions. Even in the tiniest doses, my patients have referred to hormones as life-saving, the godsend that took the edge off their gender dysphoria so they could get through and on with their lives. And I've heard people tell me I would be dead if I hadn't had these hormones, even in this small dose. You can search for transgender medical care in your area, and your local Planned Parenthood clinic will often prescribe gender-affirming hormones, or at least they can give you a solid lead as to who can. Okay, number 3. A person can adopt many non-surgical approaches to presenting or appearing and living in your identified gender, and we'll have much more on this in later videos. Number 4, consider changing your name and or your ID documents. Now, this is a big step, but let's go through this. And this will not be appropriate for everybody by any means. First of all, you can change your name at any time in your life, although minors do require parents' consent. The best resource that I have found to help a person with name change and legal document change information is on the website transequality.org. Now, transequality.org is listed in the information below. You might find a nickname or use initials that might help you weather gender dysphoria. So, for example, if I had a patient who were named Catherine Joe, but they clearly identified as male, they might want to use the initial CJ as a gender-neutral nickname. It's a lot better than having to dead name yourself every time you refer to yourself. Changing your gender ID or your state identification card information can be extremely helpful and validating. Plus, it can help a person travel more safely and getting through every day-to-day life in a much more comfortable way. Again, look at transequality.org for information on how to change your name, your gender designation on official documents such as your passport, your social security record, and your birth certificate. In recent days, it's important to be aware that some states, read that conservative states, have changed their particular policies. So be careful and do your homework on that. I've read also that some banks are providing credit cards or debit cards that may have an appropriate name for a person. So just look that up as well, because it may be something that will help you. Number 5. Gender-affirming surgeries are becoming more widely available as more surgeons are becoming expert in doing them. Do your research now. Even if it's something that you don't see happening in the future, it can come up pretty fast. And if there's something that you will have to do before having surgery, such as hair removal, for example, you could do that now and get that done, so that as you get closer to your surgery, that will be out of the way. These measures can do a lot towards reducing dysphoria. You're making forward steps, even though you cannot get everything done immediately. The other thing too is that as you browse through the websites of different surgeons and different facilities, you kind of get a flavor for what's available, and you get a flavor for which surgeon you might like to go to. And that's a very important step as you go down your gender journey. And number 6, if you are in a relationship or a job where you cannot dress in your identified gender, you may need to find a safety valve, a place where you can express your gender properly. Now, I have a separate video coming up on this topic, so watch for it if this information would be available to you. Have you found ways to deal with your gender dysphoria that make your life more manageable? I'd appreciate it if you would write those in the comments section below. If you found that this video was interesting or helpful to you in any way, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with others who may benefit. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.